All right. And now we're live. Takes a little while, I guess. All right, Deadman's Tome podcast. Your host, Mr. Deadman. Joining us tonight is the one and only Mercedes Yardley. Did I say that right? Did I say your name right? Okay, that's good. You know what? Mercedes, you and I kind of go back a little bit because I think one of your first stories was published on Deadman's Tome. Is that correct?
Yeah. I think it was like my third or fourth story ever written,
Wow.
published ever. Yeah, it was like what, 10 years ago? Like a long time ago.
Yeah, it was about a decade ago, 2008. Wow. Wow, man, that's crazy. Whew. I'm just thinking about it because that whole time period is kind of like a blur. Because when I was working on the magazine, it was a totally different frame of mind and different place. And I mean, you probably feel the same way about the story.
Oh goodness, yeah.
Do you even remember the title?
The Forbidden Grand.
The Forbidden Grand. That's right.
I know because I had to go look it up.
You cheat.
I totally cheated. Well, you cheated too. Although I don't know if you've read it, but you're like, yeah, I haven't read this for like years, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? I better go reread that. So I had forgotten almost everything about it.
Well, you're right. You caught me there. I did too. But I reread it. I reread it yesterday. I was like, okay, let me reread this. See, oh yeah, this the piano, the guy plays the music, but it's not really his music. It's this. Don't want to reveal it, but yeah. I mean, I liked it then. I still like it now. And we can go into that too. Like, man, there's so much. But first, pause real fast. A quick shout out. If you like horror, dark fiction, please check out Deadman's Tome, deadmanstome.net. Everything we have to offer, the anthologies, the issues, the podcasts. If you follow this channel, on Monday, I play video games. On Wednesday, I do pretty much an internet shit show called The Shit Show. And Friday nights, talk with writers and other creative minds. And all right, that's all the real shilling I'm going to do. Since I did that, do you have anything you want to announce, Mercedes?
No, I'm interested about you playing video games on Mondays. I want to talk about that, but
it's a new thing I started called Game and Chill.
That caught my attention like immediately. So okay.
Yeah, it's called Game and Chill, and I pretty much caught it that because while I like to play video games, I was never really like super hardcore where go I don't know, like speed runs or super, complete them all. So I'm just chilling around, playing games, getting help from the chat and getting through it. And I played like Mega Man 2. I'm playing like older games like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, like Mega Man 2, Castlevania, Contra.
All the ones that killed us as children is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Castlevania was my nemesis.
Ooh, and you're right. The ones that killed us as children, not only that, there was one in particular. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the Nintendo, the original. Not the arcade game, but that game was like, it haunted me as a child. Because you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I do. That one, but I think I first thought of Battletoads.
Battletoads. Well, Battletoads was difficult because, okay, it was 2-player co-op, but they gave you the option to harm each other.
Yeah, I played that with my little brother, and that was our only one of us is getting out of here alive. And that wasn't a good thing for us. But Maniac Mansion. Have you played Maniac Mansion recently at all?
Oh no, not recently. That's the name of that game. Okay, wait. Maniac Mansion is the one with the
tentacle.
Tentacle. That's right.
Yeah.
I was thinking it's not testicle. Tentacle. Sorry.
No. It might be, but in my world, it's a tentacle.
Okay.
Wasn't into anime porn at that time as a small child. So I own that. So whenever you play that, you have to let me know because that is my jam.
Well, that game is so cryptic. Man, if I revisit that game and I don't know what to do, it's going to be real boring, real fast. So I'll have to hit you up on that.
Yeah, I had Nintendo Power as a kid. I don't know if you remember that. And it was like, oh, hey, let's talk about this. You know, there's a key in the chandelier. How do you get it down? And yeah, I think I won that every single way you can win that game.
I mean, that's one of those games where you had to have Nintendo Power to beat it.
Yeah, you did. It was so hard, but it was so good. Or you just had like, we had like our Nintendo in the basement. So our friends would all come over and we'd like, you know, have like week-long or like weekend-long slumber parties where we're someone's always up trying to play the game. You know, everyone else is falling asleep around him and someone's like, okay, I've got this. I figured this out. You know, look what I can do. And we really, oh my gosh. I mean, I'm a professional is what I meant to say. I'm a professional woman and I would in no means play children's Nintendo games for hours on end.
No way, right?
Right. So I named my daughter after Nina from Tekken. Because I
that's
also really
cool.
like Tekken. So
That's
yeah,
a sweet game too.
Yeah, my daughter's named after a video game character. So she's like, thanks, Mom. That's great.
Man,
Thanks.
I remember those days, like going to the arcade and playing Tekken Tag.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
so fun. So fucking fun. So fucking fun. Man. Ooh, so many quarters were wasted, man. So much money.
One of my favorite dates. In fact, I want to say I think it was with my husband when we were dating, but it could not be. I was way too good at Tekken, and we went to an arcade and we had people just lined up like to play me, and I just slaughtered them all. I think it was my husband we were dating, and he was like, oh, I need to marry this woman apparently, because you know I just like strangers lined up to just play me on this thing, and it was like, yeah, you're Dan, I got you all. So
damn,
it was fun.
I
love that.
Come on, who wouldn't?
Right? My husband doesn't play, so he's not a gamer in any way.
He may not like to play, but maybe he likes to get his ass kicked.
You know, we'll talk about that in a different forum, but sure.
Oh shit! Wow, this is pretty early to know. But what are you a dom on the sides or something?
Hey, so I have a drink here. I'm gonna drink it now.
Same here. Are you sipping on is that rum and Coke?
Zero. Just Coke, straight up Coke Zero.
Oh, mine is straight up rum with a little bit of Coke.
Hey, that sounds like not so straight up. That sounds like delicious doctored.
It is.
Yeah, no, just Coke. I drink this stuff. I mainline it.
Mainline it. Man. So man, it's been okay. I've been wondering. See, I can't even talk right now because reaching out to you to talk to you, and not just you, but some of the other writers that like started off on Deadman's Tome kind of back in the day. Was kind of weird because the magazine went through a slight hiatus and was like nothing really happened for a while, and now kind of started back up again and things are kicking off and doing well. And I was like, man, I want to reach out to all these people because like they were part of something and I don't know if they remember. And you and a bunch of other people, man, I have to say that contacting you guys, I kind of felt like a stalker. I mean, how did it feel that that the stranger, Mr. Deadman, just reached out to you just like out of the blue and was like, "Hey, you want to consider doing projects again or come on the podcast or
remember me?" like that one night stand that people always talk about, and the guy shows up like 10 years later. No,
I'm the psycho.
Cool. I thought it was great. I mean, I remember Deadman's Tome. I remembered it. So, you know, I thought it was really cool. And I worked with, you know, a couple magazines. I worked with Shock Totem that closed and Gamut that closed. And so I understand
closed?
what it's like to like, what?
Gamut closed?
Gamut? Yeah, Gamut closed. We had no support. We had a lot of verbal support. And the Kickstarter was wonderful and got us through the first year. But it was only intended to get us through the first year. And
you say
Gamut.
you were a part of Gamut?
Yeah.
Like editor staff and everything?
Yes.
Oh, sweet. I had so much I didn't know. Man, that's so awesome. How was that like? What was that like?
Gamut or the closing or all of it?
all of it,
It was,
because like Gambit, the word of mouth was a respected magazine. People talked about it
yeah,
and praised it.
Gambit came out of the gate like a lion. Richard Thomas was the main editor, the editor in chief, and he is just. I want to harness that man's energy because he just, roar, and just did everything. And the Kickstarters, and we worked on the Kickstarter for about a year before it actually went live. And I made quilts. I make kind of scully quilts and kind of scary quilts. Made quilts and donated them for the Kickstarter. We gave away books. We gave away critiques, and people gave us all these things donated. Photo shoots for cover art and all these things to get Gamut going, which was wonderful. And then we read. I mean, I read every day. Gamut filled up within hours. We only had 300 stories that we would take a month to read because we
Wow.
all have, yeah, we all have family and lives and just didn't want to get overwhelmed. And the main thing is we wanted to be able to get back to people in a timely manner, and not have, you know, we've had your story for, a year and a half and we're getting to it. We wanted to get them all back by the end of the month. So we just, it took so much time, but it was so wonderful. And we would have these conference calls and the Gamut chat, and the staff, we called each other the Gamily. So we had like the Gamily chat while we're like, what's going on? Let's do this. And it was wonderful and a little bit overwhelming, but in a really good way. There was like this avalanche of good feeling and submissions, but we found out that when it was time to actually raise money, after that initial Kickstarter, the Kickstarter was so successful that people thought, okay, well, that Gamut's set. But the reason we asked for so much money is because we're paying our authors 10 cents a word, which is pretty unheard of for the most part. 6
Yeah.
cents, I think, is the SFWA professional rate. So we're paying our authors, we're paying our artists, we're, trying to run all these other events like movie events that people would attend and the money would go to, and a Gamut retreat where one of the people that was there at the retreat that came, she fell down the stairs and busted both her ankles. That was fun. And, all these different things we're trying to do, and editing and critiques, and people could call and we could talk their stories through with them, and all these different things. And nobody wanted to do that. They wanted to initially support and then send their stories in, but didn't really want to buy a subscription, or would kind of
Oh
like,
man,
it was
that's
it
the
was
hardest part.
it was because you felt like you were constantly shilling. But
Yeah,
if you don't do that, you don't, we didn't have the funding, we didn't have the money. So,
that is so hard. And
it was, yeah.
man,
Yeah. And Gamut was good. It was good. The quality
do,
was amazing.
do, I don't remember. Uh, do you mind me asking, like, how much was the Kickstarter? Like, how much did you guys raise?
Oh, geez. Like Richard would know to the penny. I want to say about like $30,000, maybe more than that.
Okay.
Um, Maybe more than that, maybe forty-five
Now
thousand
that
dollars.
sounds like a
But
lot of money, but if you're,
it does sound like a lot of money, but
but
it's not. Yeah,
yeah,
you're you're paying for your website, you're paying for someone to work on your site, you're paying 10 cents a word for stories, and we had a story coming out every single day. You're paying for things to be made into ebooks for the people that didn't want to read on their site, they wanted
hmm.
an ebook for that formatting. We had an art piece to go with every single story. Um,
Now, did you pay someone to do the formatting for the ebook for you, like turning into an EPUB
I
and Mobi file and all that?
we may have. I think originally Richard was trying to do that by himself, but it was like too much time. Like his children didn't remember what he looked like. So I think we ended
It's a
up.
learning process. It
Oh
is.
boy, yeah, yeah, and just so much time and effort, and we were spread all across the country. We had a member in Tennessee, and I live in Vegas, and Richard lives in Chicago, and just everywhere. So we're trying to like okay, we're going to have a meeting online. So, forgive us, but dinner's going on in the background and the kids are
Mhm.
walking by and being like, hi, Richard. And, everyone's, the dogs are barking here and my chickens were going crazy here and just kind of this weirdness. And it was an amazing experience. And I guess what we should have done and didn't realize was we should probably have funded for 3 years so that we would have enough um, for that initial year, because people don't realize that it's shut down. But we kind of keep hoping that there's going to be some Hail Mary, that someone's going to be like, well, I'm a millionaire and I'd like to fund Gamut for a couple years because we would, I mean, pick back up and go. We just can't afford to do that. And we don't want to ask people to like, you know, not be paid when that was one of the things that was really important for Gamut was to pay and pay generously. So we don't want to be like, just kidding, So anyway, if you know any
Just
super rich people that are like, I would love to, dabble in, we would love that, be our sugar daddy. We would love that. Or sugar mama. We're all.
uh Miss Mercedes, if I knew someone like that, I would probably be like, hey,
I'll
support
do
the
anything.
Tome and Gamut.
Yeah, support all of us.
If I knew someone like that, I wouldn't be struggling either. But
We'll do pedicures for millions, whatever. We'll do whatever you want, within reason.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I say struggling, okay. But now I don't know. Maybe I'm assuming, but I did some research, and it doesn't seem like you're doing bad for yourself. I mean, it looked like you're doing pretty good. Like I was looking at your works, your books that were out, and the ranking. They seem to be ranking pretty well on Amazon. You get pretty good feedback.
Good.
So
I don't follow stuff like that because I'm not super savvy. So that's wonderful news. Thank you.
well, I mean, no problem. I mean, I look into that to kind of see like, not really to see how. Well, I want to see kind of how like the fan reaction is, and how you do with trolls, like 1-star reviews. But I know people like your stuff. They love your stuff, and there's a certain tone to it, to all your work. Pretty Little Dead Girls, what? Little Red Dead. Little. Am I saying that right?
Little Dead Red. Little Dead Red. Yeah.
Little Dead Red, and what was it? There's a few other ones. Morning. Beautiful Sorrows. Is that one?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That was my first book. That was my a short story collection. So that's kind of my baby because that was my first. Thank you.
No problem. So, are you able to make a living off your work?
Oh no.
No.
No. That's charming. No. If
That's charming.
Maybe if it was just me and I lived in like a tent, I could do that. But no, I find that I make more money wise financially, and I'm not very money oriented, which is great. My husband is he's a financial analyst for like the government, so he works at a nuclear test site, and does their financial budgets, right?
He's a financial analyst for the government?
Yeah, at the nuclear test site. That's what he does.
Are you allowed to be on the stream?
A little bit. My kids glow, and that's all you know.
Are you allowed to say anything out of line?
No, I don't know anything. He doesn't tell me anything. I know he goes to work, and I can't go visit him at work because they'll shoot me if I try to bring him a lunch. And but I mean, he's an accountant-ish, but it's an exciting.
They would shoot you.
Job, I guess.
No way. They see you. They see you walk up, and they'll be like, "We're gonna have to shoot this girl. We're gonna have to shoot this woman. We're just gonna have to shoot her."
There's a guard. Well, I'm sure a lot of people feel that way about me, but there's a guard shack, and you don't walk up to the guard shack, unless you want to walk up to the guard shack. But yeah, so I mean, that's what he does. So he deals with money like really well, and me, I'm like, I know money exists. I've seen it before. I can take it. I can count it and like give you change, but I'm not money savvy. So like with the Kickstarter, for Gamut, I contributed things. I'm like, I can make you a pretty blanket. And I made like 5 quilts that we sold. But like,
oh, cool.
Richard's like, we're gonna, this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, there's bunnies hopping across my mind. I'm seeing sheep. I'm playing my ukulele, whatever. But then he's like, so I need 5 blankets from you. And I'm like, got it. That I've got, tell me how the money's breaking down. And I just kind of, it's just not my jam, I so I could be doing better financially, I'm sure, if I paid more attention to that aspect. But I just kind of don't. But now I have an agent who pays more attention to that aspect, which is wonderful because I like to write and that's what I like to do. And the rest of it's just kind of gravy. I mean, I get paid for it and like my money goes for my daughter's piano lessons, kind of that sort of thing. Like,
Hmm.
or, maybe a new dress. I'm certainly not supporting the supporting the family with it in any way. But I could be if I took a better interest, perhaps. You know, yeah. I just went on stream and told you guys what a dithering idiot I am when it comes to financial matters.
What? No, that's not
Like,
what I heard. I didn't hear that at all. What?
I that's not what you heard. All right, thank you.
No.
I'm a,
Okay, so
yeah,
I talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of different I look I talk to a lot of different authors. Okay. And it's very rare that I run into someone that's like, you know what, I'm able to make a living off my work. Unfortunately, that seems kind of rare.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so I appreciate the honesty in that. You know,
Oh yeah.
it doesn't mean that you're bad with money. No, if anything, it kind of puts perspective in kind of like the expectation. Like, um, you know, a lot of people they write because they say they write because they love it, but a lot of then there's those that write because they want to be like the Stephen King. They want to make the millions. And even those that say, I write because I love it. Man, if you had the option to have millions from it, I'm sure you would take it. I'm sure you would take it. But
I would take it and support Gamut. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, well, I mean, we grew up with all these misconceptions. So for one thing, we all think we're going to be Jessica Fletcher, which dates me right there. But I love her. She's my totem, my spirit animal. Where I don't know if you've watched that series in the last, I don't know, 100 years, but like she's like, oh, I just happened to write a book, and my annoying nephew just happened to read it and give it to this guy, and now I'm a wonderful novelist, and I travel, and they pay for her to travel and see people murdered, and that's not how it is, that's not how it is. Like it's not that easy, and you don't fall into it like that. And I find that book sales are unusual in that they
They're like,
they come
it's like finding Bigfoot. Is that what it's like?
it maybe yeah, except Bigfoot comes when I call him, so I don't know, that's a different thing. um but you can't depend on your book sales so much. Kind of, well, okay, if you are self-publishing, you'll probably make more money than you will be if you go with a publisher. I know that I've worked with a couple of publishers, and one of them owes me over 2 grand, and it's never going to come back. It's
Okay.
never.
Now you say
Yeah.
that. Now I have to ask. Okay, because the question is, should I go traditional or should I self-publish or even the middle route? Should I take like an indie publisher, like a small publishing house, like what Severed Press or uh, the other ones?
Uh-huh.
People debate on that. Should you go traditional or should you self-publish? A lot of people say go traditional because there's the gatekeepers of quality, quote quote. Yet 50 Shades of Grey gets published.
I know.
you know,
Yeah. It totally depends on what you want to do. Um, so do you like the control? Do you like coming up with your own covers? Do you like that putting the book together? Do you like looking at your Amazon rank? Do you like that? If you like that, then being a self-publishing thing might really, really work well for you. Um, I like to write a book and then give it to somebody else. Okay, I wrote my book. I'm done. I'm on to my next book. I'm excited. I like to follow a new project. I'm chasing stars around. So
mhm.
for me, it works well to write a book and then not come up with my own covers, not do the formatting, let somebody else do that. I that works really well for me. I'm with a couple of small publishers now because I've learned not to have all my eggs in one basket. Because if something goes down, it takes everything with it.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm in a kind of a comfortable little place right now where, I have this publisher and this publisher and this publisher, and I can come up to them and be like, hey, I bought like George Catronis is one of my favorite working cover artists. I love his stuff so much, and a lot of my books have his covers. Nameless, Apocalyptic Montessa, um, There's another one that I can't think of right now. Anyway, so I have his covers. So I just kind of buy his covers, and I have like maybe 7 of them I bought that I don't have books for. I just really like them. And so I'm in a place where I can go up to Crystal Lake, for example, where that publishes quite a few of my things. And I can say, I will have this book and I would really like to use this cover. Is that cool? And for me, it's worth it to like pay for that cover. I bought it. Can I use it? And they're like, great, because they don't have to come up with a cover. I have a cover I totally dig. It matches my other covers and tone, etc. I like that. So I like working with smaller people because I like that, if you go up to like the big 5, which used to be the big 6, and they're not anymore, right? They're only 5 now. You go up to them and you're like, I have this cover, and they're probably like, yeah, that's sweet now. And you've got to decide, are you willing to roll with that? Do you like them taking the control? If you go with the big 5, they used to be able to do so much more marketing that you couldn't do yourself. They're able to get you into more bookstores. They're able to, give you a book tour, which they used to do all the time, and now they don't. They'll be able to give you more promo than you can probably do yourself, but it's not like it used to be.
They don't do that stuff anymore? They don't do the book tour?
They will with specific best-selling authors more than, so it's kind of like, I have a book on sub that I'm not sure if it's going to the big 5 or not. My agent and I need to talk about where it's going. I said, take it and run free my pretty pony. And she will. She's amazing and has better contacts than I will. And to me, I kind of don't super care where it ends up. I just want her to, I wrote it, take it, go. And that works beautifully for me. Whereas other people, my friend Brian Kirk, for example, who writes amazing fiction, that's not his style. He wants to know. He wants to, this and this and here. And I researched this and I like to know this and I'd like to go here. And I'm just like, into the wind. And it, there goes my book. And so it depends what you like. But she was telling me that my agent was telling me that the advance from the big 5 that you used to expect, you'd expect like a $20,000 advance or whatever. Yeah. She says, well, they still kind of give those to some people, but more accurately, it's like a $3,000 advance, which I didn't know. So it's, the money is not what you think it's going to be. The majority of my money doesn't come from book sales at all. It comes from speaking. Speaking. Yeah. So like I'm teaching at a conference called Storymakers in May. So I'm going and I'm teaching and I'm giving, I have PowerPoint presentations or I go and speak to groups. And I don't ask for a lot of money for those, and apparently I should. But I mean, they're like, hey, will you come? We'll let you into the conference for free if you teach. I'm like, yeah, that's fine with me. That's great, and I need to step up. My husband's like, sweetheart, you need to actually think in dollar signs a little bit. And not because like he's greedy, but because
he's the finance guy.
He's the finance guy. But he has this point. People understand money. They don't understand and they respect money. So if someone's like, oh, how are your books selling? And you're like, oh, it's fine. I was able to, buy something to the craft store, or I bought 3 lipsticks this month instead of 1 or whatever, They can understand that when you say it in your head. And so you charging money equals you being respected. And it's kind of this weirdo thing. So, but that's what I do. It's like I go and it would, originally cost me $700 to go to this conference, but they're like, we'll pay for you. Maybe we'll give you a room. We'll do, lunches, whatever, so that's awesome. So that's where the majority of my stuff comes are not from book sales. And like if your books are on Amazon, the prices change and drop, and there's like 99-cent sales and things like that, which is great in the sense that maybe if your book's 99 cents, more people will pick it up, right? But that means that if you buy my book, and by the way, Pretty Little Dead Girls is on sale for 99 cents right now, I think.
I noticed that.
Yeah, hey, so pick it up because it's very charming. But that means I get 17 cents from that book sale. So if you buy my book at 99 cents and then you buy like 4 or 5 of your friends my book for 99 cents because you're a generous guy, that means with my royalties, I can go out to McDonald's and get a Coke that has a
nice.
So, I mean, so when you think of it in
what? Sense, I felt the same way too with the Deadman's Tome issues. because
Yeah.
they primarily sell on Amazon now, and they used to charge just like I was going with the market. It was like just $1.99 for like an e-zine pretty much on a Kindle. But I was like, I don't know. I don't know what happened with that day. But I guess I was really looking at things. But you know what? We're not gonna ever have money any more than just a few dollars if we just charge like $1.99. If people really want it, maybe they'll get it for like $5. So I upped the charge. I went against the market, and you know what? If people want it,
What?
they'll buy it. If people want it, they'll buy it. So
How did that turn out for you?
it actually turned out well. It turned out well.
Excellent.
The issues that still sell pretty well, still sell just as well, and it's better because everyone makes more. If Amazon gets their little larger cut, I get a better cut. The authors involved get a better cut, and so it's good. But the issues that sell well, they're kind of like themed and tailored. It's all like right now it seems to be all Lovecraft. Anything Lovecraft with Cthulhu or whatever. That seems to sell very well.
This takes us back to Maniac Mansion and the Purple Tentacle.
Oh,
but
yeah.
anyway, yeah. That wanted to be he wanted to be a rock star.
Yeah.
If you remember that from the game, that was the Purple Tentacles, deals. I want to be a musician. So there we go. We should write fan fiction and sell it for like way more than $1.99 an issue.
You could. We could try that. Have you heard about this this genre? Man, it's new. It's lit RPG. You know what that is?
No.
I barely know anything about it either, but I've been dabbling in it. Pretty much, you're writing a story kind of like how you would tell. Have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
Okay, kind of like that. Like you're like the dungeon master and you're putting together the story, but you kind of write it with like the gameplay mechanics in it. So not the dice rolls, but like, I guess hit points and strength, charisma, just factors. So I've been dabbling in it in this project that I'm kind of like I haven't really pushed it out anywhere because I don't know, I'm just experimenting with something. It seems to be doing okay. It seems to work.
That's cool.
I just play around with it. But if you ever think about taking one of your stories and turning it into a video game, like take Little Dead Red and just add some like hit points. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Add like an insanity meter or something. I don't know.
Sorry, that is life, the insanity meter. Yeah, so it's called what? RPG Lit? Let me write this down.
Yeah,
I've never heard
Lit RPG.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to write this down and look things up afterward. Cool.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. When I saw it, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. For real? So, hold on here. I could take one of my stories and just add these things. Would it even work? Like, would someone read it and go, man, this looks like it was shoehorned in? And that's kind of what happened. But that story, that's kind of an experimental thing, gets more reads than some of the other stuff I've ever done. So, and I wasn't even really trying.
I love that though. I mean, we're hungry for like new stuff. We are hungry to consume and escape. And I just kind of, the same things kind of get rehashed over and over and over. And it's so nice to have something different. Like that is super cool to me. Rock on. How'd you like stumble across that?
I think I saw it on one of my followers or someone I was following on Twitter. Actually, no. The author I worked with, Eric, what's his name? Eric Brown? Eric S. Brown? Yeah, him. He wrote something that was in that genre, and I was like reading. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I could do this, and I just played around with it. But I don't even want to say the name of what it is because honestly, it's like I just kind of shoehorned those components into it just to see what would happen, and it seems like it's doing okay. I mean, it has a 2-star review.
Oh,
Because someone was like, "This is too short," but I was testing the market. That's what I was really doing with that. It was like just an experimental thing. I was like, "Oh, okay, two-star review because this is way too short." It's like
that's the best 2-star you can get.
I wanted more.
I wanted more.
Yeah, so I was like, "Okay, I'll give you more. I'll turn it into a cereal. We'll see what happens." But
Awesome.
all right.
No, I want to hear the name of it. What's the name of it?
Oh God, it's called Battlestar Intergalactic. Battlestar Intergalactic. It's framed around a like a game show, like a fight to the death sort of thing. That's on this planet where they can get away with anything because they're remote and far away, and broadcasting from a region that pretty much the law can't touch. So it's all sorts of things like a gladiator fight to the death. There's of course you have your sex cams. You have all sorts of debaucherous stuff. Anything that you can that you can't get away with here due to laws or whatever, you can get away with there. So
that's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna read it. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Well, Mercedes, how long have you been writing?
About 10 years. I mean, I always wrote as a kid. And in high school and stuff, I wanted to be a writer. I knew when I was 8 years old I wanted to be a writer. But then I stopped after I got married, because I worked to put my husband through school. And then I had my son my fan just turned on, my broken fan that doesn't work. So, okay, that's great. That's great. It's nice to know that it's working now. So then my son was born, and he has Williams syndrome, and he also has autism. And so I just worked and kept him alive. And I didn't write for years and years and years. And I started about 10 years ago, when I sent you Forbidden Grand. And things just kind of picked up since then. So it's been a really great journey. I was writing and when I decided, I'm like, oh, I'm really scared. I'm gonna write a story. And I wrote my first novel. It was like a NaNoWriMo novel, and it was actually
NaNoWriMo.
good.
That's the
National Novel Writing Month. Yeah.
Okay.
That's like every agent's fear. The idea is, and they do one in April as well. So there's a new one coming up. The idea is that you write a 50,000 word novel in 30 days. And what people seem to forget about that is that you're supposed to then edit this novel and whip it into shape. You don't just write it and send it and then publish it because you get a lot of bad novels that way. But the idea is that you sit down and you just write this novel, and you give yourself a month to do it. And so there's this commitment of writing every day. And so you write 1,667 words every day, which if you're new to writing is a lot. That seems like a whole bunch. But it's manageable. And so you sit there and you write your novel, and I wrote this novel, and it still hasn't been published. I need to revise it. I kind of went on to other things because, in case you can't tell, I get distracted fairly easily. I write something, I'm like, okay, next. But it actually ties into a series I have going on, so I need to rewrite it and kind of release them all together and that sort of thing. But so I wrote that, and then I did some short stories, and then eventually I didn't put out my first book until 2012, Beautiful Sorrows. So that's been 6 years now. And that's, in one way, that seems like a really long time. And in another hand, I'm like, did I just barely put out my first book? Because I put out a few others since then. And it kind of the trajectory seems like it's been pretty straight. Like things seem to have happened fairly quickly-ish in the writing world, because things take forever. Like you put out your book, and then 2 years later it's on the shelf or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so maybe about 10 years is all, but it seems like longer than that. And in other ways it seems shorter than that.
Well,
so.
yeah, I can imagine it can feel longer because how to start with this? I mean, you've been writing a lot longer than you've been putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
You've been writing, inspired by different things and inspired by your favorite authors, and then finally you get the courage to submit. It goes to the process. You get your first few rejections. You feel burned. You get your if you're few
Right.
acceptance, you get your
You lick your wounds. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And rejections hurt. I mean, they are kind of demoralizing.
They can
Um,
be.
they
Yeah.
can be. Yeah. The thing that helped me with those at first, and I don't do this anymore because I've thickened my skin finally, but I used to take those rejections and print them out, and I would do them into origami animals. And I made my son at the time, who was a baby, I made him a baby mobile out of these origami animals that were all writer rejections, because it took the sting out for me.
Hmm.
I'm like, this doesn't hurt my feelings. I need an owl, so I have, But yeah, it's a weird process, and it's weird because you go out and you actively seek to be rejected, and it's hard. It's kind of hurtful because you're like, I put my soul in that. But I think one of the best things for that is actually running your own or working with a magazine, and being on the other side of that table, because then you can see, well, it's not personal. I just got 6 stories with the same theme. We can only choose one, so the other 5 are going to be rejected. And kind
Yeah.
of when I started working with Shock Totem, which I loved, it was a fantastic magazine. That really helped me, like, not feel bad. I'm like, oh, okay, I see now. I see what the rejection is, because you'll see people online, and they're just like, I was rejected. I'm so sad. I'm going to quit writing. And everyone's like, no, you can do it. And it's just like, you know, I know it hurts, but suck it up and carry on,
Yeah.
or quit.
Suck it up, carry
Because
on, or quit. That's all.
yeah, because it's not gonna get better. You're not gonna, hopefully you will always be rejected, because if you don't get rejected, you get passive. You get kind of like, okay, well, let's still take anything I write, and you don't push yourself. I know that if I write something and I get rejected, then I'm like, okay, well, I can do better, and I do better. And I kind of feel like if you don't, you just kind of accept people. You expect people to accept everything you do. You're not going to grow and improve, and that's just lame.
What about
Isn't it
when
all about being better? What?
I was like, what about when you reach that status where it's kind of like a boys' club, where it's like, yeah, you're good. Anything you write is good. We'll take it. What happens then?
I know people reach that status. I haven't, and I hope I never do. In a way, I think that was one of our things at Gamut, is we read blind. We didn't know who accepted or who
That's
sent the
cool.
thing, and that was my idea that I brought over from Shock Totem, because I would get schmoozed all the time, or I would be like, this
Hmm.
is one of my friends, so how do I not be, I would recuse myself from reading that story sometimes, because I didn't
Hmm.
want to be unfairly biased. So we would read blind, and we would get like people that were like really well known that would send us something that really wasn't that good and didn't make the cut. And some of them would be really, really offended, like, nobody rejects me. And it's like, well, I read that story, maybe they should. Not in a, way, but you need someone to be honest. And there's that point where, like, there are certain authors that I would certainly never name, but I'm thinking of, that, oh, so and so came out with a new story. It's just wonderful and brilliant. And you read it and you're like, this isn't wonderful and brilliant. And I know they can do better because they have done better. But like, no one's telling them no. They're just hearing the yes. And you need
Because no one's
somebody,
going to tell them no.
no one's
And
going to tell them no.
yeah, yeah.
Especially if they're a person like notorious for being jerks online, or being jerks here. No one's going to say no and open themselves up to that. And so we're missing out on some fantastic work that this person could put out that they're not, because no one's pushing them. You
And
need that pushing.
and you don't
Yeah.
care to name any names, do you?
Oh, no, no, no.
Okay. Okay.
I am so nice. It is just nauseating. Yeah.
That's good. I respect that. Be nice.
Yeah.
Be nice.
But yeah, I am. My mom is proud of me. But like, we're being robbed, because no one's saying, hey, this is a B+ story. I know you could make it, A+, do it. They're just like, oh, we'll take whatever you can give us. And it's like, well, no, please. You have this talent, hone it. So rejections are friends. They are. And you need you need honest friends. Like, my friends are so scathingly honest sometimes. And my friend Amelia Bennett, she she has her own company, Bookwife. She does editing, and she's just phenomenal. If you ever need an editor, she's the one. She sees through the heart of your story. She sent me some notes on my last thing, and she's like, these notes are blunt. And they were. She was like, I don't get it. What was this? What were you pulling here? This was, And normally she's not that blunt, but I was like, hey, can you get me something real fast? And she's like, oh, so if you work with her, she won't ever kill you or scathe you. But I needed that. I needed someone to say, you mentioned this and then dropped it. What's up with that? Or why is this character here and never mentioned again? Like, you need someone that's like, yeah, that doesn't work out. That just, you could do better. And
someone to say, you know what? It sounded like you had something good, but then you just wrapped it up real quick.
Yeah,
you go that extra distance.
And then you just sucked it. Just like,
yeah. Like, what happened?
You need someone to tell you that, and you need to listen when someone tells you that. Doesn't mean you have to accept, all their changes. It doesn't mean that they're always right, but you have to listen, and you can't be like, oh, I know, I'm so and so, I'm amazing. How could you possibly, because we're not. We need that.
That's interesting. I might try that. Read blind, because there's been a few times where I was someone tried to impress me with all their other priors, and okay, there is an anthology that I worked on, and I guess the submissions were kind of low for it, and I was like, okay, I gotta kind of have to work with what I have here. And also, I was also looking at, then I started looking at their prior work, like where they've been published before, and I guess their presence on social media. And I tried that on one particular issue, and you know what? It didn't really make much of a difference. It really didn't. I thought that including people that had a really good network, at least seemed to have an impressive network, would help. But no, I should have. I was trying to follow. I was trying to follow like a marketing scheme, and I should have just followed my gut. And I didn't.
Your heart.
Yeah. I mean, the issue is good. I enjoy it. I'm not gonna dog it. It's good. It's just, and in fact, there was a story that I almost accepted that I was like, no. Last minute I was like, no way. I'm glad I said that, because I was like, no, there's no way this is making it in. No way. And that issue is called Final Contact. That was a sci-fi horror blend, and
oddly enough, haunted? What was that? Were you haunted? I heard a huge crash.
Yeah,
that was someone's dreams shattering to the floor.
Not my drink. I don't waste my drinks like that.
No, I said dreams. Someone's dreams.
Shit. Well, hopefully not. Yeah, for my hopes and dreams. I don't know what that was. I don't know. And my wife was checking out something, like, what just fell?
Like, if you need to take like a dagger and go defend your family and home, you're good.
It's probably an annoying ghost. You ever get those?
The worst kind.
The ghosts they just prank you. They just throw things around. They don't care.
Your keys end up like on the ceiling fan. I wrote this story based on that idea, because I was talking with one of my friends, and we're like, how come, you always you're always reading about disastrous ghosts? Like, and people are like, well, you're the same when you cross over. You're the same person you were before. And I'm like, are there no like clean ghosts? So I wrote this story based on my friend Jay Wally, who is just a really nice British guy, very polite, where he was a ghost and like was wiping down the counters at night, and trying to inconspicuously, like, I'll be over here in the corner politely, I'll turn around and not watch you shower, because you always read about these ghosts that are always like, and
Yeah.
We can't all be like that.
That's a good idea. That's a good thought. Because if you are the way you were when you were living as a ghost, then you would think there'd be different personalities. There'd be different types. There'd be the calm, nice ghosts, or the polite British ghost.
Right? Like, let me make you some tea. Like you get up and your coffee's ready in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I cleaned this up for you. I detangled, your cat. It was matted, so I brushed your cat for you while you were sleeping.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, like I want a ghost that like lines my shoes up in the morning, or puts my keys where I can find them. That would be nice.
That's
the best ghosty roommate ever.
That's a great idea. Man, I want to get a ghost made.
Right? Well, maybe not a ghost maid. That just sounds. I want a ghost buddy that is just very
buddy.
conscientious.
But what if it was like a ghost buddy that like got real annoying and clingy after a while? Like was like, hey, are you up? Are you up? Hey, are you up?
That's a ghost cat, right? Like, yeah, your ghost buddy gets jealous when your friends come over. Like, how come you're talking to them more? Like,
yeah.
You're always hanging out with the living. You don't have time for me.
Yeah. Her. Hey, did you catch that show on Netflix? Did you catch it? Huh? Did you catch it?
Let's watch it together.
Yeah. It's like, I'm trying to get some sleep right here. Well, I don't need to sleep. You could stay up with me. It's like,
right. You have the ghost buddy that's like always cooking fish in the microwave, right? Like, why would you do that, ghost buddy?
Why would you do that? See, I would think you would get annoyed. I would get annoyed with that, especially if it was all super, just invading my space. It wouldn't leave me alone. It's like, come on,
right?
Man.
See, that's why I want one that's like, oh, I see you're getting dressed. I'll turn away. Like thank you, polite British ghost. That's what I want. You know.
But what if you got the pervy ghost? It's like, I'm just gonna stare.
I always get the pervy ghosts. What do you? I mean, that's what you always hear about. They're like, and someone was watching me. I want like, I don't know, my son has autism as well as Williams syndrome. I want the ghost with autism that doesn't want to make eye contact with me. Like the ghost, like, you just go do your thing, ghost. I love you and support you, and as long as you're not pushing the buttons on the washing machine all day, go.
I would love to see that too. A ghost with autism. If they turn it into a book, I could see it work. Now, a movie, someone might be like, "Oh, this is offensive because they're having autistic ghosts and the way it's depicted isn't right or whatever." But I mean,
I know you could write it sensitively.
Yeah.
In a sensitive manner, and you know what? If you, general you, not you too. I believe in you.
Thank you.
But also, like, if you write that, I mean, that would be an amazing novel. And then if you like adapt it into your own screenplay and adapt it yourself, where you're able to kind of put that sensitivity into it, that would be amazing. I would love that. Okay, now there's going to be a race. Who can write this first? It's going to be me.
Oh, I'll let that be you.
No. Between your listeners, there's going to be like 20 of us. They're like, Norman the autistic ghost is going to be like the book. They'll be like that. All the agents will be like, where did all these autistic ghosts come in? But
okay.
I mean, I love that.
I'll take that challenge. I'll take that challenge, and I bet you, I'm willing to bet, I'm probably going to get one of those like nasty tweets in response. This guy doesn't even know what autism is or whatever. Be like, it just sounds like someone would bash it just for the title alone. Norman, the autistic ghost. What?
Well, Norman the autistic ghost is a terrible title. I mean, you do want to deal with it with sensitivity, because it's not, it's something that we deal with in my house every single day. But also, I also feel that people just kind of would get their backs up without reading it. And I think that if they read it, I'm already defending this book that hasn't been written yet.
Yeah.
If I write Norman the Autistic Ghost, which will have a much better title, or whoever writes it, read it first before you go after us, because it's like one of my friends wrote a book called The Short Bus Hero, which when you hear the title, you're like, oh my gosh, but it's a really great book,
Yeah,
so
and I already know what it's about.
Yeah.
Short Bus Hero.
Short Bus Hero. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but I think it like as an author, I mean, and you were talking earlier about people that write because this is what we do. I write, and it's not just the money. It's not the money we write, but like you have to write things that are uncomfortable. You have to write things that are uncomfortable, and you have to like go into these areas that are uncomfortable. And I think as a reader, you can't, well, I'm immediately offended. Well, have you read it? Because if you haven't read it, you can't make that generalization. We can't be this nation that gets offended just by reading the headline. You have to read the whole thing.
Do
and
some reading
understand
into it. See what's going on. And
Yeah.
you know what? If you are
And then
offended
be
by it,
offended.
just whatever. You know?
Well, it's okay to be offended, and
Yeah,
it's okay
it's
to
okay to
have
be
these,
offended.
and it's okay to have these feelings, and it's okay to reach out and like say this bothers me because, but you have to be willing to listen. You can't just be offended all the time and expect anyone to ever listen to anything that you say.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
if you're constantly offended, I don't. If it's someone that's mellow that gets offended, I'll really look into why they're offended. If it's someone
mhm.
that's constantly offended because it's the trendy thing to do, it's crying wolf. I'm
Yeah,
not,
that bothers me. So I mean, Deadman's Tome has released a lot of issues, and even some of the early stuff back in the day. I was looking over it. I was like, oh, you know what? I want to go into this too because Forbidden Grand. That's like one of your first stories. Looking back on that story, wow, is that a weird experience?
reading it after so many years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do so much better now.
You know what? You know what? Too, I'll tell you something. I was reading parts of your more recent works, and your voice has changed. It seems to have a more of a consistency, and I really like the flow and the style that you developed.
Thank you.
Especially what Pretty Little Dead Girls, that story. It almost reminded me of like a, I don't know why I do the reference of like a kid's book or anything, bad reference. But I'm just saying like it's straight to the point. Like its narrative is, but it has like a touch of like cynicism to it. Like, oh, you already know how it's going to end probably, but let's look at it because you know what? She's not dead yet, so let's go with it. And I like that. That was cool. It's cool.
Thank you.
But Forbidden Grand is an
yeah.
early work.
And you can tell. You can tell it's an early work.
Mhm.
I think the idea is now I'm like I read it over and we talked about this briefly just today about reading your old stuff. And you always feel like you can make it better. I don't read my old things unless I'm doing a reading or unless I'm narrating it for something. I just because I see everything that I shouldn't have used that word. I could have changed this. That's so clunky. And it's not perfectionism. It's just I could do so much better.
Yeah.
So when I reread The Forbidden Grand, I was like, wow, the idea is pretty cliche. And what is with this guy? And wow, his dad's pretty ham-fisted that.
Super emo kid.
You don't understand me. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
That's what.
But
No one understands me. So you just play loud music. G G G G G. They just.
Your music scares me so. Just drop dead, Mom. I'm playing the piano. Yeah. But at the time.
And he was going through a divorce or something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Even his wife hates his music.
Yeah, like I'm like, he's emotionally 12. What's he doing being married in the first place? But
Okay, that's something about that story because of the first part. Actually, I think the first line talks about the divorce, but after that, I'm thinking the kid is a kid because he's living with his mom, but it's not a kid. It's a grown man.
like
So
living with his
I think
mom.
if you were to redo it again, you made it where like it was like a neck beard, like he had like a full on beard, and still playing the piano probably.
Now I see him like in a black hoodie with his like fingernails painted black,
Yeah, yeah.
listening to AFI all the time, but playing, this like haunted music. But yeah, well, there's a reason that story is not on my biography anywhere.
Oh, so do you want me to take your name off that issue?
So thank you for this. Now that story has been outed. It was probably the best to do at the time. I mean, it was a very young story, and I could probably fix it now, but I don't know if I would want to. I don't know if that's even anything I would explore at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, and that's sort of the way I feel about the older issues. I mentioned this before on the messenger. I was like, the older issues, when I look back at them, they have a lot of the issues have a lot of issues. The issues have a lot of problems with them, that I would want to change, but the historian in me is like, well, I'll just leave it because
That's how it was. That's
yeah. If you want to dog them because of their little mistakes, then that's fine. And those issues, the only reason they're like 99 cents is because they have to be or something. But
you're like, I'm sorry. I didn't know any better. I was young.
but you could buy it for historical reasons. So, which, by the way, for those listening, and Mercedes is not gonna like this, but if you want to read Forbidden Grand and other stories, okay, the issue that it's in is actually free right now. I'll keep it free. I won't keep it free. I'll keep it free. On Amazon, I can't make it free. I don't think I can, but it comes with an expectation that you watch this first or understand that you grow from it. I don't know.
If you guys want to write me hate mail, it's mercedesyardley@gmail.com.
You don't get hate mail. Do you get hate mail?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah.
You do?
Oh yeah. The worst was when I shaved my head a couple years ago, just because I wanted to. It wasn't a cry for help. It wasn't a call to feminism. It was just I shaved my head, and it was one of the best.
Like a hashtag Me Too thing?
No, it wasn't. It was I ran Ragnar, and I hadn't seen my real hair color in like 10 years, and I had long hair, and I got hate mail, and I got death threats, and I got crazy stuff from readers that apparently I had readers I never knew about, because I'm really active on Facebook, so I kind of assume I know everyone that's reading my stuff because they'll be like, oh, I read your work. And I'm like, oh, thanks. And we chat back and forth. But I got like, you shaved your head. You were supposed to, we had an unspoken agreement that this is what you looked like. And now I'm going to boycott your books because of this. And you should go kill yourself. You're dead. And I'm just all like,
even you can go kill yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
You used to have like that one guy that talked like that. And now everyone has a computer and can afford a computer or use the library's computer. And so like, they're all, standing on your front lawn screaming at you. So yeah. So, say what you want about the Forbidden Grand. I can take it.
Wow. You know what? I don't even know if I received anything like that ever.
Well, that because then you're opening the floodgates.
Well, man, Deadman's Tome has been trying to open the floodgate for a while, I guess. Touching on people's issues.
People are like, I'm going to be his first. I'm going to, be his hate mail first.
Hey, I thought, let's see. Oh, actually, the only hate mail, or not hate mail, hate comments or whatever I received, it wasn't even a hate comment. It was actually rather tame. Okay, in January, we did, not this year, last year, we did Trumpocalypse because Trump was elected, and I saw a comment, so I was like, work on an issue called Trumpocalypse. I was like, and at the time I was like, man, if Hillary wins, this is gonna look so weird because it'd be like Trumpocalypse. But anyway, so I got some flack from people who were like, what about a Hillary one? And I was like, Hillary didn't win, so that's the thing. I'm going to be bashing on Trump. And I did that mainly because, he's president. And every president needs to be made fun of, especially Trump. There's no reason why he should be. What? Come on. He's a walking caricature.
It's part of the office. It's part of the office. You just expect.
You get made fun of. So he was like, this, that, da, 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 da. I was like, okay. I didn't really read it. I was just like, I just give him a response. She didn't win. And she didn't win against him. That's like the worst defeat ever. Whatever. So, and then the other hate mails, that's not even hate. I don't think I've ever received anyone telling me to go kill myself. Someone threatened to sue me once. And I told him, yeah, whatever. Pretty much. Someone threatened to sue me. And someone said that I need to take writing courses, but that was like a 2-star review, like back in 2008 or something. So I don't know. I think you took the cake as far as hate comments.
I want to write you hate mail now, and I really like you. I just you basically issued a challenge, so it's like I want to troll you just because. And I've
That's
never received that. Oh yeah.
you know what Mercedes, that would be a great segment. That'd be a super great segment.
Reading your hate mail.
Yes, I would love that. I would love that. And you know what? I think that's why. Because there must be a reason. Because Deadman still has a lot of issues and I've said some crazy things on the podcast before and on YouTube. But I think, I don't know, maybe it's the way I talk, maybe the way I present myself, the way the magazines ran, but it's just, it doesn't come. Or if it does, I just ignore it. I don't even know it. Just like whatever. So let's do a segment. Hate on Deadman. Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
I mean, what would I'd be like, you're 20 years younger than I thought you were. What are you, a baby?
Wait a second. Wait a second.
What,
there was a troll before on the podcast. His name was Kentucky Bob. And he was coming with questions being like, his question would be long-winded, like, I was reading Deadman's Tome's Monsters Exist. It is a grand, fantastic issue. When I was wondering, my thoughts were drifting off, as they normally do, and I was wondering, how is Mrs. Deadman doing right now? Huh? Is she missing my dick? Stuff like that. I'm like, whoa. Stuff like that.
Ouch.
Like,
okay, well, I feel like, and of course, and I feel like women seem to get more hate mail, or people feel more that they can talk about women maybe more, or maybe are not as threatened, or like you have your tone and you're friendly, but you're also kind of, no holds barred, a little bit. And so I feel like maybe your listeners would kind of, I feel that they would be like, well, if I'm going to, go after him, he's going to come after me, like,
and that's exactly what happened.
Where, I mean,
I was like, okay.
I mean, whereas, I'm sitting here and I'm like, don't say mean things to me because they'll hurt my sad little feelings,
Oh.
And so easy pickings maybe in a way, or I don't know, but I feel like people feel that they can say things about women way more. Like there's like an ownership there. Like maybe I'm not going to attack him, but I'll I'll ask about his wife.
Yeah, you know what? And I would hear that, and I used to go, I don't know about that, because I was like a teenager when the internet first came about, and I was like on AIM, AOL Instant Messenger and stuff, and it was a harsh time then, just as it is now. Well, it's actually kind of weird. People were saying all sorts of offensive things to me left and right. And I was kind of part of it. I was trolling and being trolled, and people calling lesbians gays and fuck you, fuck this, fuck that. And, I met your dad's the other night. And it was like, what? The other things. But hearing you now, this is an example. I, a guy, pretty much have zero, hate mail. But then again, I don't even consider Kentucky Bob even hate, because it's just like, whatever. It seems like a joke to me. But it's probably not the same. Like, that's just one guy. But your messages are coming from what? Like emails and...
Emails,
Facebook, Twitter. Wow.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah.
Wow.
Just, back when I worked at Shock
That's
Totem,
bullshit.
Yeah. I would get stuff all the time. There was this one particular guy that would email me stuff that he thought that he thought that I was like talking to him in my Twitter posts or whatever. Like he was reading everything I would post, and he thought they were all messages to him
because he's a psycho.
Yeah, whereas and we would talk about that all the time, and like the staff, like Ken Wood and John Bowden and the guys that were the staff there, they're like, we're not getting any of this stuff. We're not getting all these. Or I was the only female on staff at the time, and like people would hit me up like, oh, hey, would you read my story? Would you, and they're like, well, they're not hitting us up, and we're like, Ken's like, I'm the editor in chief. It just kind of seems like there's almost like a perceived, oh, she's softer, maybe she, maybe I can weasel in a little bit more by asking her, or
I can see that. I can see that.
Weakness, or maybe a sweetness, but then I am nice. I'm a very nice person, and they're nice.
You do
people
seem
too.
nice. You seem very nice.
It's a tragedy. I'm very nice, but I'm also very stabby. So but
and
anyway,
I see that too. Like
right? Like I have a knife right here. Do you want to see it? You want to see my dagger?
Don't threaten me. Don't threaten me on the internet. Oh my God, I'm threatened.
So like, I mean, weapons at the ready, but whereas they come off and they're like, F you, F this, blah, and I'm all like, not. So it just kind of seems like they would be more, I would ask me too. I would threaten me too. I would, as opposed to them, because,
Wow.
I don't know.
See, I feel like I learned so much talk with you today. It's good. Glad,
awesome.
Glad we're doing this. Now, I got to pause real fast because I want to do a shout out. Deadman Stone's run a writing contest. It's an ongoing, it's going to be open all year long, pretty much, called The Meat Grinder. And what it is stories that are submitted have to compete with one another for the favor of the readers. So they get graded based on the number of reads, likes, and comments they receive. And the story that receives the most obviously wins. But the other thing is, like, I am not doing anything with these stories, no editing or anything. I'll read it to know what the story's about. Then I'll put it up as is, because I want the readers to give the feedback, because I want the feedback to sort of be that be complimentary and let the writer know that it's not just it wouldn't just come from me or any other editor or anyone else. It's coming from people who are reading your story, and if they say, wow, this reads like garbage, please fix it, then maybe you should probably fix it. So that's why it's called the meat grinder, because there is an element to it where the authors could be shamed a bit to pull their story. They could pull their story at any time. And also, if they receive like consistent negative reviews, and it has to be like negative, not like there's a line between like complimentary, like, this is okay, but it could have been better, then, oh, this fucking sucked. If you get, oh, this fucking sucked like 3 times in a row, your story's canned. So that's the contest. It's open all year long. And the winner gets like $20. You can also get money from like people who donate to your story. But the reason I mention this is because there are a batch of submissions they're going to finalize pretty soon. These stories are Roanoke by Lisa Dabrowski. Probably totally butchered that name. Secret, and then The Rose Queen. And out of those 3, it looks like Roanoke is in the lead, but by view count. But if I factor in, you see there's like 2 comments, 1 like on that one. And then, let's see, The Secret has, what we have here? Oh, 3 comments and 1 like. So I really think Secret's going to catch up, which is, it just probably sounds like a bunch of jibber jabber right now. But if you go to deadmanstone.net, you can see these stories and you can participate as well. This is like the last day. Tomorrow night is when it's finalized. On Saturday night is when it's like, okay, it's in. And what I want to say, the reason why I like this contest is because Secret was actually, Secret was actually was performing the least, doing the worst, I could say. The Rose Queen was in second, Roanoke was in first. The Secret was like, I didn't think it was going to catch up, but today, just today alone, it shot up. Crazy.
That's cool.
It's like a mad, intense race. I like that. I want to put like the UFC, like WWE attitude into this writing contest.
Bloodthirsty, yeah. That sounds.
Yeah. Well, I advertise it as literary blood sports, and that might sound a little cringy, but it is, because they have to go against each other, and they're going against their raw writing form. Now, people have their fans. Some people have a good fan base and followers. Okay, then bring that too. Bring it. You know.
That's cool. I like that. I like the rawness of that. That's very cool.
Oh, thanks, thanks. Hey, and you're welcome to participate. You could win.
Oh, that's okay. How would Forbidden Grand do? They'd be like, oh, that's sweet.
I don't know.
Kill yourself. Take that dagger and run into it 10 times.
Wow. That sounds like it would be a joke. You really get those? Run into a dagger 10 times.
Not like a whole bunch.
But you get like those psycho, and it's from guys, huh? It's from guys.
Some women, mostly guys, but some women definitely, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You get psycho guys that if they were to die, they would probably haunt you as a ghost. So
gosh.
Don't let them know where you live. Okay.
There are a couple people. My best friend here, she works for Las Vegas Metro at a police station. And she knows that if I die, she has like a couple of people whose basements she's checking first. She's like, if you go missing, I'm checking, blah, blah, blah. There's some interesting people in the world.
There are.
It's good and it's bad. And it's, there have been times that I've been like, you have to have an internet presence. You have to be present or no one's going to read your work. And I feel like, I'm still pretty much an unknown. Not a lot of people know who I am, but would I want the next level of success? Like there are times when I really worry about it,
Mm-hmm.
because I worry for my kids. I worry about, I had some death threats not too long ago because I had spoken out on a social issue and people sent me pictures of my home. They sent me pictures of my house.
Whoa.
And it was like, I have little kids, like my kid, like that's
crossing the line. What the fuck? Who did that? Who did that? That person needs a reality check. That's what that person needs. Who the fuck did that? You don't have to tell me right now. That's okay. But now this isn't even a white knight thing. This is like that person needs a fucking reality check. You know what I'm saying?
It's not white knighting if you are just being human.
Yeah.
Like being human, but like, so how do you do this? Like you make yourself accessible and then you open yourself up to, crazies on the internet. But then I don't know, it's so strange. Like I long for the days that I never knew where you didn't know anything about writers. You just saw their books. Their books came out and they could be like the worst human on earth and you didn't know that, you just knew their book. And I miss that kind of secrecy and that mystery. But at the same time, I really like getting to know other writers and like people whose work I pick up because I like them and I want to support them. But it's such a double-edged sword, It's so, I don't know, like how famous do you want to be? Do you want to have security detail? Or it's so strange. Like, we were talking financially, I'd like to be able to support myself with the writing, or I'd like to do whatever. And it's like, no, I'm okay not, because you would just open yourself up to weirder and weirder people. My husband calls me a freak magnet. And so he's always like, yeah.
Well, I would believe it. It sounds like it.
Whenever I see you, you'll sit down to eat lunch alone and then he'll come by and he's like, you have like weirdos at your table, like it's just kind of a thing, and
were you like that in high school? Were you like the goth or something in high school?
I wasn't goth, but I really like people. And so I had, a lot of different friends and a lot of them were really, really strange. And, some people that were scary and I felt uncomfortable with, but mostly people that like were the best people when you would get to know them, but no one would take the time to get to know them. So I would say most of my friends are like totally the weirdos, in the best of ways, but great hearts, great creative minds and, the big hearts, but you wouldn't see that because they have this kind of wall of that they put up. I'm pretty good at busting through those walls, whether they want me to or not. But sometimes, you know, those walls are there for a reason, and it's kind of always been this way a little bit. But just kind of with the internet, people feel like they're closer. You know, they feel like they're in my house.
Yeah, and you mentioned that it could also be because, well, you're a chick, and look, if there's a psycho guy, I could totally see it. If there's a psycho guy who, I don't know, is attracted to just your thumbnail or whatever, or profile picture, and thinks he could talk to you in a certain way, or approach you in a certain way. Maybe you remind him of his mom. Maybe you remind him of an ex. Maybe you remind him of, I don't know, maybe you do something that you don't want to know about, Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, well, I mean, and women are totally psychos too, totally psychos.
What happens? They're psycho girlfriends.
Yeah. Everybody's exes are
had a
psycho.
few. I've had a few in my life.
Oh no.
You know what? We spent this time, but besides joking about the Forbidden Grand, we haven't really talked about any of your, at least in detail. Do you want to talk about? I don't know how much time you have. I don't know if you want to talk about like Pretty Little Dead Girls or Little Dead Red, whatever, which one you want to talk about for those who haven't even read it yet and all that.
Well, Little Dead Red is probably the one that is making the rounds the most right now. I won a Bram Stoker Award for that, and it's this cool little. I have it here with my dagger.
Well, let me
it's
see
this
it.
Cool little house.
Oh, cool.
Little haunted house. And it has, a door that opens and closes, and little like creepy, and it's really heavy.
And that was for Little Dead Red?
Little Dead Red, yes. So it won this award, which is cool. Stephen King has one, and now I have one. And it's a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, obviously, and it's in the modern day, and it's about this mother. And her name is Marie, and she starts out as like Happy Marie, and as the story goes on, she becomes Grim Marie. And anyway, her daughter goes missing and is found in pieces. And she always wore this little red hoodie, and she lives, and it's about poverty, and it's about shame, and it's about this, mother and how she goes out searching for who she calls the wolf. And it's one of my favorite stories. I hated every second that I wrote it. I really struggled with it. It talks about abuse. It talks about child abuse and molestation. And it talks about, the murder of a child and justice and that.
Yeah.
And it was really emotional writing. But
I can imagine. That's a very deep, that's a very dark subject.
It is.
But it happens. That stuff happens daily. Don't kid yourself. That stuff happens daily, even more than that.
Absolutely. And I'm kind of obsessed with losing children and losing the people you love, and so most of my work tends to be, I call it whimsical horror. It tends to be kind of fairy tales with a high body count, and and there's kind of some charm and stuff to it. And this one's written prettily, but there's nothing like paranormal in it. It's very realistic, very based in reality. And I actually have, I'm so excited about this. I have a limited edition, because you can't get it in in a print copy right now. It's only available on as an ebook.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now on the Amazon page for Kindle, and the audiobook is free. Oh, with the Audible trial.
With Audible, yeah. And Joe Hempel did that audio reading, and he is phenomenal. And when I heard that he was doing the book, I was like, well, it's a story about a woman and her daughter. So what's this guy doing narrating it? And he just was phenomenal. So anything you can get that he narrates, I would listen to it. He's
and
really
you have
good.
Like 29 reviews. It's 4.5 stars. You have, it has 1 2-star review, but I remember reading it, and it was like some sort of bullshit 2-star review. Look at it real fast. It was.
I don't know what that is. I don't tend to read them often, just because. Right.
Yeah, I'm probably humoring some troll right here. This might be that guy. Was his name Kelvin? because this is Kelvin's review. Let me read it.
I don't know.
Let me read it in
read
his
it.
voice.
It's the same.
Little Dead Red by Mercedes Yardley, my girlfriend, is a very dark and disturbing tale about a grieving mother, which is Mercedes, seeking revenge against the wolf, which isn't me, that raped and murdered her. Talks about the story. The well-written, the short story itself is ultimately unsatisfying.
Huh.
Oh, that's it?
Oh, that's too bad that he didn't like it.
Yeah.
But that's still a great review. I mean, sorry I'm not offended by it.
Yeah. If only if it sounded pervy, then you could be. And then you could be like, what the fuck is this, Amazon? Get rid of this review.
You know I'm going to call you up in the middle of the night and be like, hey, read me something in Kelvin's voice again. I really liked it. It really turned me on. You're going to have to like suck your teeth and like...
Well, and I'm looking... So it's okay. It's ranked like 430, which isn't. I mean, it's not like bestseller, but it's not bad.
Yeah, that's bad for something that came out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So we have a limited edition print copy that's coming out from Vault Books, Vault Publications, I think, Vault Books, and it's Little Dead Red plus some other short stories of mine, a couple of essays. I think at least 3 of the short stories, 2 or 3 of them have never been seen before, so they're brand new, written for the collection. Anyway, and Dan Wells, who wrote the I Am Not a Serial Killer books, and that movie, which I really enjoyed, did the foreword for it, and we signed our signature sheets, and they're at the printers as we speak. So if you guys want to pre-order that, you can. I think there's only 124 copies, and then the lettered, but it has gorgeous art for all the stories. And anyway, that'd
be cool.
Be out,
yeah, definitely shoot me a link for that, and I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so excited for that. Like, to hold a copy of that, like, this is my story, and it's not on ebook. I love the ebook, but I love, the print makes it real.
Yeah, the actual copy. Copy.
Yeah, like, you never, when you're a little girl, I'm going to write a story and it's going to be on digital format. It's like, I want to hold the book in my hand. So I am so thrilled. This has been 2 years in the making. So I'm really glad that it's coming out.
Well, you seem very excited about it, and you should be.
I am. It's been a while since, something has come out. Everything's kind of in the in-between stages right now. Like, this is on sub and this came out, and these are, so to have something like, yes, yes, Kelvin, that's how I'm feeling.
Here you go, Kelvin.
No, I appreciate that someone would take the time to review. Negative reviews don't really bother me, so I think that's great.
The worst negative review I've received was it was the 2-star for the Battlestar, not Battlestar Galactica, because that's trademarked. Sorry, Battlestar Intergalactic, because totally different.
Yeah, that's so not the same.
Yeah. But like I said, I was playing around with that, and I was testing the market, kind of saying, what can I do with this? So I kind of knew what was going on there. And the other thing was, Mercedes, I don't know if I want to tell you the title of this one, because this one, I tell you the title, it's pretty, I don't know, you like me now, but this collection of short stories is called Turbo Sled 5K, and it is a very violent, very over the top, very Quentin Tarantino-esque, just nonstop action. Yeah, it's sexualized, but it's written with 3 female sex bots that are liberated, so they don't have to perform on Johns anymore.
Hooray!
Yes.
That's every sex bot stream is their liberation. Okay.
Yes. So instead of actually performing the acts, what they do is they kill. They lure their victims and they kill them. And yeah, that's the story. And it goes crazy. It just one thing leads to another. But someone gave it a 2-star. They're like, I was pretty much in summation. I was expecting erotica. This is not erotic. I'm like, it's not erotica. I know it starts off like that because she has her John. They're in the bed and all this stuff, and next thing you know, she's killing him.
Well, I mean, to certain people, that certainly is erotica. I mean, just, what floats your boat. Yeah.
And since she's a machine, her body is designed in ways to make sure that she can kill him in, she pretty much uses her body to kill him, pretty much. Yeah. It's totally like, like a toxic adventure sort of thing. Like a B-movie horror sort of thing. It's that line of thinking.
The B-movie horror is my jam.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. You're respected in the morning.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I used to work at a sex offender home, right? It takes a lot to kind of roll me.
Wow, I did not know that either. You used to work in a sex offender home.
Yeah, not as a sex bot, but as a staff. So,
wow.
Yeah.
There's plenty of stories involved in that too. Man, we could dig into that. This podcast normally it's like an hour and a half so far, and this usually when we kind of wrap up. I don't know. I mean, any you wanna? I got stuff. I would like to keep this going on longer, but I got things I need to do in the morning too. I got to wrap it up. I'm sorry.
Oh.
That's just I like talking to you.
Oh, sex offender. Silence, woman. We're done here.
No, I'm the person that would dig into that. Come on, I wrote Turbo Slut 5K, and
yeah, I've seen things. I will just say that I have seen so many.
Oh man. Well, I tell you what, Mercedes, this has been fun. I would definitely enjoy talking with you again, anytime, pretty much. Sure. You're welcome on anytime.
Thank you.
And you're on the East Coast. No. Pacific time.
Yeah, I live in Las Vegas. Yeah.
So it's easier for you.
Yeah. You're like, I'm tired. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess it's almost dinner time. I guess.
Yeah, look at that. All right, well, any last thing you want to say? Anything you want to plug or?
No, it's been a pleasure. To have known you for so long, but we never really talked, except for shooting a few emails back and forth, and I really enjoy you. So that's a pleasure because you never know, you're like, well, maybe we're going to really hate each other and it'll be like, this is the worst podcast ever.
That's what I was fearing too. Oh, one last thing, actually. So, I'll reach out to you and a few other, I guess, people like the old school Deadman's Tome group and the idea of putting together an anthology, whatever. And I'll talk to you more about it, off the show, but it's like, I think a lot of people are on board with that, so expect something in the future, like a group chat. So if you get invited to a group chat.
Oh, how fun. Totally. I'm up for it.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Well, Mercedes, you take it easy. If you were watching, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and all that. It helps out. All right. Well, with that said, I'll take it easy.